Great news for Call of Duty DMZ fans. DMZ2 has finally been confirmed by Infinity Ward and will be released in their next game, Modern Warfare 4. This is a long time coming for DMZ fans since the game mode was abandoned back in November of 2023. But now, just as was speculated, DMZ2 is finally coming out this year. And you can call it DMZ2 or you can call it DMZ with the beta tag removed. Either way, it's coming back, and actually it's going to be the third major game mode in MW4 alongside the campaign and multiplayer. In this video, I'll talk about the DMZ2 announcement, what my expectations and concerns are for the game, and if I'll be covering the game once again on this channel. So let's start with the announcement of DMZ2. Let's freaking go, finally. I played DMZ1 for 2.5 years, and 1.5 of those years was without any support, and it was tough to watch it crash and burn like that. So it's huge to see DMZ finally getting support again. And honestly, MW4 or Modern Warfare 4 being set in Korea is perfect because it's an actual demilitarized zone there in real life. So anyway, this is from the official announcement of Modern Warfare 4. DMZ is the definitive Call of Duty experience, a living combat arena where every deployment is a new story. Deploy solo or with a squad into a volatile conflict zone as an off-the-books asset tasked with recovering advanced military technology left in the wake of war. The conditions in the exclusion zone are always shifting, with changing weather, dynamic military objectives, and hostile forces moving throughout the zone. The first thing that stands out to me here is them talking about deploying solo or with a squad, which sort of indicates that there might be a solo only queue, which would honestly be amazing. Playing solo versus squads can be fun sometimes, but after a while, it does get a little frustrating. So knowing that every other enemy player you run into is also a solo would be absolutely huge in my opinion. Also, I love hearing about changes to weather conditions. I think this is a huge W because you end up playing the same maps over and over and over again, hours upon hours. So weather changes can actually really offer some variety in the overall experience over a long period of time. Interesting to hear the term dynamic military objectives. This could just be another way of wording the existing contract system that exists in DMZ1, or it could be that the objectives have much more substance to them. We'll have to wait and see. Now, next they say, loot, fight, negotiate, betray, and extract with whatever you can carry. The harder you push, the harder the world pushes back. Every run is a risk, every encounter is a choice, and no two deployments play out the same way. I love the wording of loot, fight, negotiate, betray, and extract, as well as every encounter is a choice, because it suggests that going weapons hot against other players doesn't necessarily have to be your only course of action. In DMZ1, it was basically like 95% PvP and 5% PvE, and that's mostly because the game itself didn't really incentivize cooperation among players at all. So everyone would just shoot each other and assimilate whoever they felt like they wanted to increase their squad's power. I really hope that the gameplay loop has something like this, because to me, when there's a better balance between PvP and PvE, the game is just much more interesting. Like when there's just one-dimensional PvP, you sort of lose that sense of uncertainty about your fate. And when you run into another player or a squad out in the world, it's just more fun to get that feeling of uncertainty because it makes every interaction more unique, instead of a foregone conclusion of a PvP shootout. Next, they end up saying you won't have long to wait before information on DMZ. You'll get your first look at DMZ on June 7th, including additional details and gameplay footage coverage. So we don't have to wait long to get a real good look at the new DMZ because this additional coverage is just around the corner. And I think we're going to get a better understanding of whether or not they go down the road more of making an extraction shooter, or they're going to keep it more like it is now, which is basically a casual Warzone experience. We also know that there's a DMZ bonus for players that pre-order Modern Warfare 4, which has got a lot of people thinking that this means that DMZ 2 will only be available to those that purchase Modern Warfare 4. This is a really big deal, of course, because DMZ 1 was free to play and previously directly tied to Warzone. Now, obviously, this will impact the overall player count for DMZ2 if, in fact, that is the case. But I don't think it's going to cause players to have dramatically high queue times or anything. I mean, this is Call of Duty after all, and it sells millions of copies every year. Of course, a lot of free-to-play players will be pissed to hear this, and I know there are a ton of people out there that have said they aren't giving Call of Duty another dime after the last DMZ debacle. But again, I don't think you'll have trouble finding a game, but your friends, they might not be on board with getting the squad back together, you know? Anyway, there's another implication to DMZ2 being tied directly to MW4 as a paid game mode, and that very well could impact the future of updates. One of the biggest issues that DMZ1 players had was the fact that the game was only supported for a single year and then left for dead, myself included. It felt like a massive slap in the face, honestly. So why is DMZ being a game mode within Modern Warfare 4 potentially bad? Well, other than Warzone, which is its own game and not directly tied to the yearly CODs necessarily, I can't think of a single time a game mode within a Call of Duty game got updates past the game's 1 year life cycle. I mean, look at Black Ops 6. The third mode was zombies, and its updates stopped within the year of the launch. Same with MWZ before that, the same with DMZ before that, the same with Vanguard Zombies before that, and so on and so on. So part of the reason this happens every year is because there are multiple development teams making Call of Duty games to ensure a title releases every year. Well, each of these teams typically has their own unique third game mode, similar to how Black Ops games are known for including zombies. So now Infinity Ward, the makers of DMZ, would have to allocate resources to keep DMZ going after the 1 year that Modern Warfare 4 is the current Call of Duty game, which doesn't have any precedence at all. I mean, it's possible that they have a multi-year plan, and of course I hope that they do, but we really have never seen that before from the Call of Duty devs. To me, until I hear otherwise, I would fully expect that DMZ will only receive updates for 1 year and once again get shelved until a few years down the road, until Infinity Ward is back in the rotation for the next development of Call of Duty. Now, players are going to have to ask themselves, am I really going to invest my time into a multiplayer experience that's only going to last for 1 year? I mean, yeah, it will probably be worth it from an hours played to cost ratio for most people, but it's more of the principle of thing. And I know that's going to be a tough one to swallow, but only time will tell if by some miracle DMZ2 sets a new precedence for game modes getting supported beyond 1 year. But at this point, I would not get your hopes up. There's another concern that I have, and that's the current state of DMZ1. To put it simply, DMZ1 is completely riddled with cheaters, exploiters, glitchers, and overpowered mechanics and items like the one-shot shotgun. And this is all due to the lack of support over the last 2.5 years. Well, the reason this is a concern now is because since DMZ2 has been announced, DMZ1 is going to get a little influx of players. Some brand new players just checking out what DMZ is all about after hearing about DMZ2, and some returning maybe after a long break perhaps. Now, these prospective players are going to queue up DMZ1, and they are likely going to see how messed up everything is, and it will be very clear that the game is in a bad state. And it really just might leave a bad taste in their mouth and maybe just make them walk away from DMZ2 entirely before it even launches. I mean, Infinity Ward knew that this was coming, and that's why they made an attempt to stop a game-breaking glitch, which was a duplication glitch in DMZ1 just last week. But despite their efforts, unfortunately, the duplication glitch is still in there another way. And outside of that, nothing else has been fixed or balanced in at all. So yeah, I mean, I was hoping that we would have gotten a little bit more love, not only for players that might be interested in seeing what DMZ is all about, but also for me personally, it's hard to go back and play a game that's in its current state with all of the issues at hand here. I mean, I suppose that they could do another little update to try and make things better. Maybe start with just removing anti-armor rounds completely from the game and maybe crank up the anti-cheat a little more than it is, you know? The last day that I played, I ran into blatant aimbotters hacking in about 75% of the games that I played, and I played for over 5 hours. So it was pretty bad. And the concern really is just those first impressions for players playing DMZ1 after hearing the announcement of DMZ2. Now, on this subject, some people will say, oh, hey, DMZ2 is going to be a paid game this time around, so there aren't going to be many cheaters. And I'm here to tell you right now that having a price tag is really not a big deterrent. Like, it might be a small one, but it is not a big one. There are plenty of examples out there of paid games that have a high cheater population that are just absolutely riddled with cheaters. And that's because cheaters don't pay full price for games. These cheat websites are all selling cracked copies of the game for pennies on the dollar, which gets their clients back into the game quickly and continuing to use their cheating services. Which brings us to the Call of Duty anti-cheat Ricochet. Now, cheating is always going to be a problem in video games, and honestly, it's probably only going to get worse as technology gets better over time. These anti-cheat softwares and teams, they're always one step behind the cheat makers, and it's such a difficult task to stop them. And I honestly don't think it's fair to just say, oh, well, Call of Duty's anti-cheat just sucks. There are so many games out there that struggle with cheaters using all different types of anti-cheats to try and stop them. So at this point, it's just an accepted ongoing issue if you're into competitive online games. Now, that said, yes, cheating in DMZ 1 is really bad right now, but I don't think it'll be as big of an issue in DMZ 2, at least as long as it's getting updated. The cheater to legitimate player ratio is going to be much, much higher in an unsupported game like DMZ 1. The only people left playing DMZ 1 are cheaters and diehards. So that population of diehards is way lower. And I think when DMZ 2 comes out, you're going to run into way less cheaters just strictly on the basis that it's going to have a much higher population of legitimate players to counterbalance the scumbags downloading hacks onto their PC. Quite simply, with more legitimate players, when you queue up, there's just a smaller chance a cheater gets into your lobby. That's the simplest way to put it. Also, I think the new yearly COD always gets way more eyes on it, and the anti-cheat resources as well are virtually all put towards it. So that should give DMZ 2 quicker detection and bans than it's currently getting. So where do I stand with DMZ in general, and what's the future look like? Well, DMZ 1 is in a pretty bad spot. It's broken on so many levels, and there's no new content. However, the best moments in DMZ 1 for me come when I get a chance to play with the boys, for example. So if Westy and Stoddy want to assemble the OG GOAT squad, I am down to play every single time, no matter what. But other than that, I'm really not planning on diving back into the solo grind of DMZ 1, unless they fix some more of the things that are broken or add new content, which likely is not going to happen. Now, that brings us to DMZ 2. Yes, for sure, I'll be going hard on DMZ 2 for as long as it has updates. So expect consistent live streams and videos just like we did in the past. Now, if DMZ 2 only gets updated for 1 year, well, let's just wait and see. But watching another DMZ game crash and burn a second time around, that's going to be hard to go through again. Who knows? Maybe this time around they'll cut the content updates, but maybe actually keep a small team on it to ensure the wheels don't fall off, which, you know, I might be able to live with. Or best case scenario, DMZ 2 will actually get multi-year support, in which case I'll be there for the entire ride. No matter what happens with the future of DMZ 2, I think it'll be fun to make some new memories in that world again, and I really hope that they knock it out of the park. I cannot wait to see more details about the actual game as we get closer to launch. I hope you liked the video. Let me know down in the comments below how you're feeling about DMZ 2. Drop a sub if you want some more DMZ content, and I will catch you in the next one.